Josh Giddey had an amazing end to the 2024-25 season. Is that going to make him the $30 million man? Me and Pat are going to discuss it all as we grade the season for Josh Giddey. We can get to all that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That's Pat the Designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central, Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. And today's episode is brought to you by, I should have had this up already, Amazon Fire Stick TV. Turn any TV into your Xbox, no console needed. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to learn more. All right, everydayers, let's get into it today. Josh Giddey, that's what we're discussing. We're doing our season grade for Josh Giddey. Start off right at the top like we did yesterday. Pat, how you feeling about Josh Giddey's season? What grade do you give Josh Giddey for this season?
I kind of feel the same way how we felt about Coby White. You know, I love the finish to the season. I think it was a phenomenal finish. But we got to still be in that B range for me, even with Josh Giddey. But I will go B+. Right, I will go B+, bordering on A-, because Josh Giddey was not only impactful during the second half of the season, but also was very impactful in that play-in game where the Bulls were trying their best to actually compete, and it just, didn't really happen because of other factors that played into it, i.e., what we talked about yesterday with your number two not doing enough in that game. But you can't forget the first half of the season. Right, there's a reason that Josh Giddey's averaging 14, 8, and 7. There was a point where on the court, he just was completely lost on the defensive end. You couldn't play him in the fourth quarter of games. Very similar to what we saw in his time in OKC. He got it together, right? I don't know if that part of the game being Zach LaVine is kind of surprising because Josh Giddey was like visibly atrocious in the first half of the season, but maybe there was something nagging at him. Maybe there was something that he wasn't fully over yet, right? And he got himself back healthy. I don't know what it was, but by the second half of the season, not only was Josh Giddey playing some really good team defense, but I thought individually, even in some one-on-one situations, if he knew he couldn't guard the guy, he was like, bet, let me just use my length at the rim and make sure that it's a tough shot. If he knew he could stay in front of the guy, he was giving guys jump shots where it was like, okay, take the shot. I have the length to still contest. Like it became Josh Giddey going from we can't play you in the fourth quarter because your defense is so bad to this dude's one of the better defenders on this team. And it's weird because we've never seen him play defense like this. Because of that, I do give him a B+, bordering A-, because, I mean, listen, when you ball out like that in the second half, you gotta look at that second half heavily.
Yeah, I think with Giddey, like you said, coming into the season with the injury can easily be overlooked because people forget the first 5 games of the season, Josh Giddey was actually cooking, right? And then he fell off a little bit as the team kind of the balance between him and Coby and Zach was never really quite there. Vooch was also very much so cooking early in the season, right? So like the shots just weren't there. But to your point, Giddey was unplayable in fourth quarters. And I know some of Giddey's fans like, we should play him anyway in the fourth quarter. And then they use how he played later in the season to kind of retroactively validate that. No, let's be clear here. Josh Giddey was bad defensively to start the season. Yeah. Terrible. And I think if you want to ignore that, it means that you aren't really appreciating the growth that he made because he made huge strides this season defensively. And you got to give him credit for that. Josh Giddey started realizing, hey, wait a second. I'm bigger than most of these point guards you guys got me drafted. Sure, they may be faster than me, but let me put this body on them real quick. Shout out to Zion Williamson. But let me guard them real quick and use my strength and my added length that I have over a lot of these guys at being 6'8", and let me do the best I can defensively. And he found his groove defensively towards the end of that season. And so that's the thing that really makes this for me. He went from being a player that you couldn't play in fourth quarters to being one of the most impactful players that we have in fourth quarters of these games to end this season. And that's huge. But like I said, even with Coby White, like I need to see how you start off next season before I start believing 100% that that's who you're going to be. Yeah. But what did I say yesterday? I like being able to hold players to what they say about themselves. Josh Giddey ended this. The last thing that we heard from Josh Giddey in the season in the press conference is the player that I was at the end of the season is more close to the player who I actually am.
Yeah.
That gives me something to hold you to, your words, right? And that's what we're going to look forward to coming to Josh Giddey next season. So I'll say easily B plus for Josh Giddey this season.
Yeah, look, I mean, like the improvement wasn't just, I think, in a on the court status either, right? I think Josh Giddey improved as a leader. There was a ton of times where I love how he was talking with Modest. There was a game, 2 games before the end of the season. Done at this point, I think it didn't matter for the Bulls because Atlanta had won or Miami had won one of them. But the Bulls are up 30 on Charlotte. And Josh Giddey sitting there cussing out Modest Buzelis because Modest Buzelis is not in position defensively, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, why aren't you taking that shot? Like he's trying to he's become a leader of this team. He's become somebody who can rally the team, around him. And, I think there were even points where, I mean, that last Miami game where it wasn't still, so it must have been before the Miami game actually, but that last Miami game where it was still important, right? Josh Giddey getting himself going at the end of that half really pushed the Bulls to getting that win over Miami, that final win over Miami, because the Bulls were having a horrible game in that. And so just games like that, moments like that, where it kind of shows you like, okay, this team can go as far as the best player on it can take them. And right now, I think you got to say that best player is Josh Giddey.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at, we'll see what team. I think it's him and Coby are kind of neck and neck. But when you factor in the creation that Josh Giddey brings, I think I gave the stat towards the end of last season. Like over the last 20, 25-ish games, Josh Giddey was accounting for almost 32% of the Bulls offense by himself when you add in scoring and points generated off assists.
Yep.
You can't overlook the importance of being able to do that. Now, we have seen the bad side of that too, because if you're able to disrupt Josh Giddey, then it really does throw off everything. If you're able to disrupt him and Coby White, a la the Thunder, you can cook us. But, overall, you can't hold that against Josh Giddey. He made tremendous strides this season. And, we'll continue to talk about him in free agency and what that means. But I love the fact that you started off very down on Josh Giddey. And that he made you like kind of do a 180 on the way that you feel about him. And I think that says a lot because there's been another player that you've been down on for years in Patrick Williams that hasn't done anything to make you do a 180.
Listen, yeah, the most he's had is a hot 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like that was last season. Like, no, I was the guy who was, I couldn't believe we didn't trade him. Right. I think that video, it is still up over in Chicago Bulls Breeze. Couldn't believe we didn't trade him to the Spurs. There was a 1st round pick offered. Right. And everybody was like, well, you'll see. I'm like, yeah, I saw. You know what I mean? The second half of the season, what Josh Giddey was able to do. And I think, I went to one of the Detroit games where it was just a shellacking, and the Bulls competed a little more in the second one, but still got their heads kicked in. I think that was the moment for Josh Giddey where he was like, okay, maybe it's time for me to stop. I almost want to say he was tiptoeing around the team. Right? You're trying to ingratiate yourself. You're trying to figure out what your role is. You're trying to figure out where do I fit in and stuff like that. We really didn't see Josh Giddey go at nobody in a Bulls jersey in early on in the season. And it's almost like as soon as we got past All-Star break, all of a sudden Josh Giddey, hey, you got to play here. You can't miss this assignment. Hey, you stay over here. All right. Followed, like it was almost like he took the lead. Now that, of course, Zach LaVine and all them were gone. And I don't know if there was this like tug of war for who was going to be the loudest voice in that room, but there wasn't after All-Star break. I'd say that.
Yeah. And I think also like you look at it and say this is that maybe there was this, we all know that Zach is probably not going to be here by the end of the season. So let's just let it be what it's going to be for now.
Yeah.
And then we'll really start figuring out the hierarchy and the balance after that, after Zach LaVine moves on. And that's what it feels like is what happened here.
Yeah, 100%. So we'll see what ends up happening. We got to re-sign this dude though.
Yeah, we got to re-sign him, which is what we're going to discuss next, is the risk of Josh Giddey living in free agent. How confident are we that the Chicago Bulls are going to be able to re-sign him? I think we both are going to fare on the pretty confident side of that. Yep. But first, we got to get to a message from Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? If it's Shea, it's on socks. Between dining out, online shopping, entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place. So you stop just managing your money and you start building wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on my Chicago team's merch. Now I budget smarter and save more while still buying merch. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared accounts and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control over your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. More Locked On Bulls coming up next. All right, Pat. So we got to talk about the money aspect of it. Coming into the season, it was reported that Josh Giddey wanted around Jalen Suggs' money, which is, I believe, somebody that was in the same draft class as him. Which
you don't want Jalen Suggs' hairline.
Well, yeah, I mean, clearly he has much better hair than Jalen Suggs. It's not hard to do. But with that said, it's around $30 million per year. I think everybody kind of looked at it and questioned it initially, but I think by the end of the season, Josh, go ahead. Matter of fact, your quote. Go ahead.
I said 30 million. Not sure why he's a pimp in the 60s, but that's kind of how it feels.
And listen, it is what it is. But I believe that Josh Giddey, with the way that he finished that season, is going to make a strong case for that $30 million. But Pat, let's flip it, because I think we both agree like that's around the money he's going to get. There's no question about that now. What's the risk that you think that it is that Josh Giddey does leave in restricted free agency?
I don't think there's any risk. I'm not going to lie to you. I think if Josh Giddey goes out there, I'll say this. If you want to get him in here for $30 million, sign him for $30 million. Because the one thing that we do know, and I think we found this out from the Zach LaVine situation, right? Some teams just like to be petty.
Yeah.
Some teams just like to go out there and say, yeah, we'll get you the contract to get you your money, to try and like facilitate, hey, but when this is up, maybe you come play with us, or maybe we trade for you one day, right? Like, if you let Josh Giddey go out and find his market, there's only one team that I think can pay him more than 30, and it's the Brooklyn Nets. I would not risk it, because one, Brooklyn's dumb, desperate, and has nowhere else to spend money. They got nothing but young guys.
Yeah.
If you're telling me I can get Josh Giddey, Cam Thomas, Nick Claxton, right? Like,
and potentially Cooper Flag.
Like, guess what? I'm throwing the bag at Josh Giddey. If you want to get him in here for I don't even know if I can say team-friendly price, just get the deal done. If not, like, you're going to be overpaying for Josh Giddey. I don't know if it gets to I think the max he can get is $51 million on the open market. I don't think it gets to that, but you could go from paying $30 million to $40, $42 million easily.
Yeah, I think it comes down to, for the Nets, like, where do they pick in the lottery? What is that position? And then how because they won a lot more games than most people had them expected. How close can it be? Because if you have a team, they still got to pay Cam Thomas as well. They have two big needs on that roster. That's a wing and that's a point guard. Now, the wing, maybe instead of throwing a bunch of money at Josh Giddey in restricted free agency, maybe it's Jonathan Kuminga, right? I think those things play a part into that. But I do think the Brooklyn Nets, that's your biggest threat there. People have said the Spurs. I don't see why they still say that after trading for De'Aaron Fox. We've already seen Josh Giddey play with another ball-dominant point guard. It doesn't really tend to work there.
I think people forget they traded for De'Aaron Fox because it was very quick.
So soon. Yeah.
It was very quick. It was like, De'Aaron Fox is there. Oh, he's dead.
Why do you always go to death, my boy? Jesus. It's never he's hurt. He's dead. He's dead. Oh.
De'Aaron Fox is a little different. De'Aaron Fox probably hurt. Lonzo Ball's dead.
No, Dame Lillard's dead.
Man, dog. Hey.
Bro, I hate that happened for Dame, bro.
Hey, like, first thing, me and Joel thought the first thing when that happened too. When I seen him go down, I was like, wow, that's an Achilles. Like, I knew it. Like, I said it right then, and then right after that, I was like, Should have left Portland the first time you had a chance, dog. That's crazy. You wasted your whole career.
Yeah, it sucks, bro. Like that just really sucks for Dame. But yeah, the Brooklyn Nets are the biggest threat there, and it really depends on how much they want to push their chips in right now. And I think a lot of that is determined by how high what they're going to draft lottery. Because I can see them say, "Bet we got Cooper. Let's add a point guard that can get him the ball. We got a scorer already in Cam Thomas. We got our other pieces. Like let's see what we can do. Got a defensive big in Nick Claxton. So let's see what we can do there." And that's really the biggest threat. And even then, I don't think they're going to offer Josh Giddey like some $40 million contract. Maybe they do, but I don't think that they will. What's the most? What is the number though, Pat? That it's like, all right, bet we got to let him walk. What would that number be?
I don't think you can. You're in such a bad situation, right? Like it would be insane if you let him walk. But if by some stretch of the imagination, the Nets came in and were like, listen, we'll offer you $45 million over the next 5 years. That to me, not to say Josh Giddey is a bad player, but that to me feels like you're tying yourself into another Zach LaVine contract situation where I think he would probably have more of an impact than what we saw from LaVine as far as total game. But, you know, unless you, again, get a star in the draft, right? Like, you're tying yourself to a player that makes you okay, not even great or elite yet, right? Like you're just, you may be a 50 or you may be a 43, 44, 45 win team, which is still a play-in team.
Oh, I think 45 actually puts you in the playoffs. In the East.
Did the Magic have 45?
I think they had, because I know the Pistons only had 42? They avoided the play-in.
Oh, it's true.
Am I tripping on that?
Let's see. Pistons had 44 wins. So 44 wins get you out of the play. Well, no, because what is it? Yeah, 44 wins. Yeah, because the Magic had 41.
So yeah, you hover around that area, you can look to avoid the play-in. So I mean, I'm not really too worried about it. Maybe that blows up in my face, maybe it doesn't, but I feel pretty confident that there's not really a number that the Bulls won't be willing, because I don't think that they can. They have a clear cap sheet. That's the whole point of having a clear cap sheet, to make sure you keep your players if you want them, right? That's it. So I'm not really too worried about that.
And if we being real, like AK being tied to a team that is a 44-win team, like makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Sure.
And he would come back every year and just be like, keep running this back.
Oh, listen. Oh, if you get above 43 wins. Like you 42, 43 wins. AK is not letting up off nobody if that happens, bro.
Back for 10 years.
Bro, everybody's locked in. Billy Donovan's getting the contract extension. Everybody's locked into that point.
We'll be like the Hornets through like the early 2000s. Like where you were just like, you're not bad.
You're not great.
But no one believes in you. And then Chris Paul had a ridiculous playoff run. It was crazy. But
hey, listen, that Chris Paul Tyson Chandler combo for a while there was unstoppable, bro. Like that was such fun basketball to watch.
It was, but then like they would come up against the Lakers or the Spurs, like anybody good,
sure,
you just be like, oh, okay, it's over. Yeah,
well, yeah. That's when they came up against those teams. They're like, you knew Noah Dunk's only worth 2 points, right? Like you understand, you can get all the flashy dunks you want. It's worth 2 points, my boy. So go ahead, keep dunking.
Off the head, behind the back, in the air, slam. 2
points.
2 points. Yeah.
2 points.
You're down 17. It's the early 2000s. It's over.
Yeah, where now like you can go down 16 points and you're like, hey, 3 minutes, we still got to change.
Hey, not in these playoffs,
bro.
You go down.
That's
you go down
these playoffs
4.
have been physical as hell, bro.
Hey, you go down 4. I ain't gonna lie to you, dog. It might be GG's in the 4th with how they letting these defenses play.
Bro, listen. At some point, we got to talk about. I know we're locked on Bulls. We got to talk about. Find a way to talk about. We'll find an angle to talk about the playoffs, because listen, these playoffs have been bananas, my boy.
I think that was the conversation yesterday, right? Do we have the players that can be tough enough in those moments? That is the one thing that maybe to have a playoff talk before we get into the next topic. Like that is the one thing to kind of have a conversation on. The one thing about Giddey that you also got to respect is because he played in Australia, because he's played overseas and plays in the FIBA games every time, bro. Like he can take the contact and finish through. Yeah. Like he don't have the God. How am I going to play? Which is weird because Luka doesn't like doing that. But, you know, Hey man, we'll see what happens in free agency here. What's the next step is the next topic coming up here with Josh Giddey. But first, we got to tell you guys all about our sponsors over at Wayfair. More Locked On Bulls coming up next. Spring is here, and that means home project season. Whether you're refreshing a room or tackling a full-on renovation, Wayfair is the best kept secret for all things home improvement. For small updates like stylish cabinets, hardware, to major upgrades like new vanities, sinks, and outdoor lighting, Wayfair has quality products for every single budget. Listen, I just upgraded the bathroom in my house with Wayfair, and the selection was incredible. Their free and fast shipping made it so easy. No hauling heavy items from the store. I love that they have top brands like GE and Moen at great prices. Shopping was seamless, and I found exactly what I was looking for to fit my space and style. Wayfair makes home improvement easy. Get started now at wayfair.com. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. More Locked On Bulls coming up next.
Still trying to hog the screen there, my boy.
Dang it, I tried to take stuff off. You tried to push me back up.
Listen, it's my time now.
It's my turn. You told me it was my turn.
But with that said, Pat, man, what's the next step? We talked about this with Coby White. What's the next step that you want to see from Josh Giddey, whether it's adding something to his game, whatever it is? What do you want to see for Josh Giddey next season?
You want to know what, honestly? No matter what changes are going to come, and I don't think major changes are coming anyway, don't let them change your role. And I think that comes from, as somebody who has the ball in their hand a ton, right, in Josh Giddey, I think that he has the opportunity to dictate that. Where by the end of this season, not only was Josh Giddey one of the best passing players in the NBA, facilitating players, he was one of the better scorers at the point guard position in the NBA. From the All-Star break on, I mean, talk about 21, 10, and 9 was what this guy was doing. He became one of those players that we look at around the league and go, wow, this guy actually seems a little bit unstoppable. Make sure that the three-point shot is still consistent next season. I think in the second half of the year, we saw him be extremely consistent, which was shocking to us from the three-point line. Make sure that you're doing everything that you can to maintain that number one role as a top scorer on this team. And if you do that, like, I actually think we could see Josh Giddey winning most improved player next season and or Coby White, either one of those guys, right? But Josh Giddey, because Josh Giddey was scoring like 28, 29 points a game while still giving you 16 rebounds and 10 assists.
Yeah.
Like, you're now an elite. Josh Giddey he got a sniff of what being an elite player could look like for him. And if you're real about it, don't give that back. Don't sit there and be like, oh, well, I'm doing it for the good of the team. No, like, let it be your team. That's what I would love to see Josh Giddey do next season.
Yeah, for me, it's just to continue to develop defensively. Like, I think Josh Giddey is, like, he has that offensive skill set. Like, I'm not saying he can't still add to his game. He can still get better at three-point shooting, all those type of things. But I think a Josh Giddey that is a decent defender doesn't have to be a lockdown defender. He's even said he doesn't think he'll ever turn into that. But, like, just giving that consistent effort defensively, that changes things. Because what did we see towards that end, that run? Not only was Josh Giddey getting steals, he was getting blocks. Like somebody who can already start the break because they can rebound, but then they could also get in the passing lanes and start the break off turnovers. Those are things that put Josh Giddey and this team in a much better place overall, because we still don't have those isolation scores that are just amazing in that. So you need to thrive off that. And I'll say this too. When you look at every big on our roster, except Vooch early in the season.
Yeah.
But they all played much better when Josh Giddey played better. So if we do get a young center in this draft, like I hope that the Bulls do, building chemistry and, like you said, being that leader for that guy, making sure that guy stays involved in the game, because Billy Donovan damn sure is going to make sure a young rookie big is going to stay involved in the game. Hell, he didn't do it with Drummond. So that's going to fall on Josh Giddey, unfortunately. Yeah,
listen, and the leadership aspect of it could be game changing. You know what I mean? That's really what it comes down to. Like, do you have somebody who has the I'm the star of this team mentality? I don't know if that's Josh Giddey either. You know what I mean? More times than not, it's usually not the PG on the team, unless you've got one of those, you got a Russell Westbrook, you got a Derrick Rose, right? Chris Paul. Like, to me, it's far and few between where you've got an elite PG as the leader of the team. But Josh Giddey should be one of those guys. You know what I mean? Like he should be the guy who is looking at what Shai is doing over in OKC and saying, I can do that. I can be that for this team over here. And that team didn't want me, and I could have done it for them, but they wanted to go a different direction. They went the right direction. But let me show them what they were missing out on. They went the right direction. Yeah. He's probably going to be the MVP.
Yeah. Which, listen, these awards have been voted kind of weirdly, bro. I would not be surprised at all if somehow he didn't win MVP, but he should be the MVP.
They should just give the co-MVP.
They're not going to do that, bro.
I know they never like to do it because it creates the storyline, it creates the conversation. But it's like every time we wanted to be like Shai's ahead, Jokic would go put out like a 60-20-20
bro,
game.
The 30, what was it, 38-point triple-double? It's crazy, bro. Like what we're getting to witness in our lifetime is bananas, bro. And he's doing it almost every, like putting up 20-point triple-doubles like it's nothing. Is crazy to me,
bro. 20, bro. This man had a 60-point triple-double,
bro. That's crazy.
They lost, man. But he had a 60-point triple-double.
That's bananas, bro. Like, it's crazy.
You put up 60 and still had the mindset to be like, oh, let me dish this ball off. Like that's insane to me. So, have the mindset of those guys. Tap in with guys like Jokic. Tap in with guys like, Shai, right? The guys that are on the team that you just came from. I'm sure there's probably no beef there. Talk to them about what it means to be a number one on a team and become that number one. I think, to me, that's the only step up, right? You're a good player right now. Can you be great? Can you be the person that the team is looking to? That's what I want to see from a lot of the top guys on this team.
If it ends up 2 years from now, are Coby and Josh Giddey still the Bulls starting backcourt?
Probably, because I think we win more games next year, and that means that AK is gonna.
So that means that's going to be about a $70 million backcourt, right?
Yep.
Oh,
I never said it was logical. I said probably.
We both have said, like, if you get above 500, nobody's going anywhere.
Yeah,
nobody's going anywhere. You're stuck. So that's AK.
Yeah, solid. We'd be like the Atlanta Hawks then. I feel like not the Hawks now, but like the over Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah,
it'd be like, oh, this is fun. Then every now and then we have a crazy season, but then we'd be like, oh, we got to play Boston.
Here's the thing, though. If it results in a run to the Eastern Conference Finals, I'll take it. That's how deprived we are from postseason success.
Yeah, listen. Haize, if it turns into a first-round playoff win, we haven't won a home playoff game since 2015. Bro,
that's crazy, bro. That's crazy. Allen was one. Neither one of your kids were born.
Nope. I had just gotten married.
That's crazy.
Crazy work. Actually, dang. I wasn't even married yet when they won the game because it was the Derrick Rose game winner, and I was in training at AT&T. And they had put me up in a hotel that had a Bar Louie in it, but I wasn't 21 yet.
That is
so
hilarious.
Dude made me stand outside the bar and watch the game.
That's crazy.
Oh, God.
That's wild. That's wild.
Insane. Life hadn't even started for me. Hey, man, appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. I don't want to go down memory lane on here. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat The Designer.
You guys can follow me at CEO Haize. Locked On Bulls is free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choosing, as well as Odyssey, Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV, everywhere. If you want to see us, you can see us. Make sure you guys also go to LockedOnDaily.com and sign up for the Locked On Bulls Daily newsletter. I'm actually about to get to write it in now and get that posted for you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Love you guys. Go Bulls. Peace, y'all.
Peace.